Hello everyone, and welcome to my predictions for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights Week 6 football matchup versus the Michigan State Spartans. Let's get into it. Rutgers is coming into the game with a record of 3-2, just coming off two straight losses, one being a 7-point close loss to Michigan, and another being a blowout loss to Ohio State, who has looked like a very improved team over the past week. Michigan State is 5-0 and the number 11 team in the country, and they are just coming off a 17-point win versus Western Kentucky, and before that, a 3-point win versus Nebraska. So Rutgers' main calling card this year has been their defense. Their defense has looked pretty good. Besides the Ohio State game, that game they were just completely outmatched. Ohio State was just a faster team. They were just a more talented team. That was it, but in the other games, Rutgers' defense has looked pretty good so far. Offense, not so great. Isaiah Pacheco had kind of a breakout game against Michigan, quieted down against Ohio State. Again, I'm not really interested in them too much because Michigan State is not nearly on the talent level of Ohio State. And we'll look at Michigan State, who has had a great offense, great passing game from Peyton Thorne, and great rushing game from Kenneth Walker. Defense has not looked great, but it has been enough for their offense to get most of the work done, and that's what they're going to look to do tomorrow at noon. Now, one thing that's going to be big in this game is the injury to Bo Mountain for Rutgers last weekend. Bo Mountain is easily probably the best offensive player for Rutgers, besides maybe Pacheco, but I think Mountain's the best. And against the Michigan State team that has looked slightly vulnerable against the pass, the numbers I know are inflated against a Western Kentucky team that loves to throw the ball, but that has seemed to be Michigan State's weakness, and I don't think Rutgers can take advantage of that without Bo Mountain. They have some decent targets, but Noah Vedril's not really been able to stretch the field much, besides maybe in the Delaware game a little bit, but that's Delaware. Even a good FCS team, it's still an FCS team. So that's going to play a big part if Rutgers is going to have a chance. If Bo Mountain is there, I think they have a shot, maybe. They can get some deep passes going, maybe, and they can take advantage of a Michigan State weakness. But if he is out, it's going to be difficult for Rutgers. So what do I think is going to happen in this game? Well, Rutgers is coming off two very difficult games, a little cooling off from a pretty decent start to the season where they had three not-so-great teams. And Michigan State really seems to be hitting their stride. So I don't think this is good timing for this game at all for Rutgers. Rutgers just did not look great in that Ohio State game, I don't think. Even with the talent difference, they just did not look great. And Michigan State has looked great so far. I mean, they haven't played really exceptional teams. Northwestern's looked pretty bad. Miami hasn't looked great. Nebraska's looked decent. That was a close win. And I can't really tell if that's Nebraska's actually picking it up and they're looking good or if that was a down game for Michigan State. But I think Michigan State's offense is going to be too much. Peyton Thorne and Kenneth Walker have looked great. And Rutgers' defense can be very good. They can scheme well. They can have the right plays. Their players can make the right plays. But this is still a team that is very full of three-star talent. And that's going to hold them back from being a great Big Ten defense. And I think Michigan State's offense is a great Big Ten offense. I just think it is. Thorne, 11 touchdowns to 1 pick. Walker is averaging almost 7 yards a rush. I think it's going to be too much. And I don't think Rutgers is going to have enough offense to keep up with the Spartans. So I'm thinking a score of something like 38-24, something like that, I'm thinking. I just don't think Rutgers is going to be able to keep up. Maybe even something more like 35-17. I don't know why. For some reason, in this game, I really don't see Rutgers winning. I think Michigan State is a legit team. I think they look very good right now. So I don't think that loss is a knock on the Scarlet Knights. I just think Michigan State's a pretty damn good team. And I just have not liked the play calling really also for the Rutgers offense. So I just don't know if they're going to be able to keep up. So, yeah, that's my prediction. Something like 38-24, 35-17. Maybe if they keep it close, something like 38-28, something like that. If I had to make some bold predictions, I think Vedra actually has one of his better games, over 200 yards, get some deep passes in, but not enough to really win the game. And defense holds up in the first half, but the second half is when it starts really collapsing when the offense isn't getting enough going and they're not getting enough rest. So, yeah, those are my predictions for Rutgers Scarlet Knights versus the Michigan State Spartans. And subscribe for more content about the Scarlet Knights.